Embody. Embody. Embodiment. The embodiment. To be able to put something inside the body and then emit that something outside the body. What's going on, my high vibrational individual expressions of God on earth? This is your boy, Will Rogers, aka Master Teacher 33. Today I want to introduce one of the books that's a part of the 1000 for 1000. You want to take advantage of that, as well as join me inside of the MT360 Creators Academy, where I'll be working with you one-on-one, individual, for 1 year. The program is for 1 year to work with you to show you how to use your true, authentic, creative skills and create and become a creator. Because God is a creator and you're an individual expression of God. Therefore, by default, my brother, by default, my sister, you are a creator as well. So we do not create anything. Actually, we just emit. So when I say emit, that simply means that as individual expressions of God on earth, we do not attract anything. We don't really align with anything. We just emit. We send out things, but we have to first establish those things inside of the self. So in Him we move. In Him we live. We move and we have our being inside of Source. So we're connected to Source. As the image that I created for the book cover for today's offer. Again, that book is only $1 when it's purchased inside of the 1000 for 1000. Separately, that book sells for $1.99. And let's take a look at the embodiment. So that is the book cover for the body of wealth. So we are all part of the body of Christ. Another study for another time. That simply means that we all are an electrical magnetic frequency generators. This is how divine energy becomes wealth, value, and form. So we are electrical beings in a magnetic frequency range, or in a magnetic world, for lack of a better perspective. So when we talk about this, what that means, that simply means that you and I are a source of value. So we're not source of source, we are a source of value. So God put source inside of us, and we have the ability to express this source. So I am and you are the embodiment of wealth. So as the embodiment of wealth, we don't necessarily get it. We don't necessarily create it. We just kind of send it out. So we're not really frequencies, waves, and vibrations from the perspective of being our own separate individual, let's use the word, creators. We are connected to the Creator, and therefore the value that was placed inside of us by the Creator is then being sent out or emitted through us because it's given to us by the Creator. So when we talk about being the embodiment, that just simply means that you and I are the electrical magnetic version of God on earth. So God had to, or God chose to, whatever word you want to use. So you do not attract wealth, you emit it. You don't really, and it is, it's kind of like splitting hairs, but it's good to get into the details because remember that old saying back in the day, the devil is in the details? That's 100% true. So these little small details is how we self-identify. That just simply means that you can only fly as high as you identify. So identity before economy. So that simply means creativity before productivity. So you're only as productive as you are creative. And so what we're talking about is the fact that God is a creator. And so since we made in the image and likeness of God, Deuteronomy tells us, for it is God who's given us the power to get wealth. So it's not about getting it. It's about exuding. It's about emitting it. So you're a frequency. That just simply means that you're sending out. The body has its own aura. So your energy shows up before you do. So when we talk about energy, what we're talking about is the fact that people sense, people pick up. So your job is to be value. So you cannot learn it. You can't get it. You have to emit it. That's what the book is about. The book is about, okay, how do you be it? Well, the Bible breaks all of this down. So as an electrical magnetic version of God, you have to really walk in the embodiment of God. Now that's tough for most of us because we're not really taught what that means. We're taught to be to worship God. That's great too. That's where you start at. But then you have to get to a point where you do what Jesus said. Jesus said, the things that I have done, you shall do. So now you have to now start to emit the same frequency as God. That's what it means. So we're talking about an EM. An EM is an electrical magnetic energy being. That's what we are. We are electrical magnetic generators inside of each one of your cells, inside of the mitochondrial DNA. We broke all of this down inside of all the books that I've written over the last 30 plus years where we get into the biology. So the Bible is the body and the body is the Bible. Basic instructions before leaving Earth. So again, do you not know that your body is the temple of the Ruach, or the Pneuma, of the Spirit? And so the Spirit is the animating principle of the body. Because the word Spirit in the Greek means Ruach. In Hebrew, it means Ruach. In Greek, it means Pneuma. It means the animating principle. So that's what animates you. So you embody this. We have, in Him we live, we move, and we have our being. God wishes that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. So these are all biblical constructs, but we don't identify with them. So you must establish identity before you can establish economy. So remember, your self-worth is determined by, or your net worth is determined by your self-worth. So again, your self-image establishes, so how you see yourself. So when you look in the mirror, what do you see? So if you do not see yourself as the electrical magnetic frequency version of God, then you don't embody God. God is all knowing, all power, all present, all loving, and all simple. That's what we call wealth. So you're not embodying wealth. So without that disposition, you carry yourself less than. You at a lower frequency. So when I say I am the source of value, that just simply means I have a true connected with my true authentic self. I can't be you, you can't be me. So I don't want to be T.D. Jakes, Creflo Dollar, Joel Osteen, and anybody else. I just want to be myself. So that's the way you and I are designed to operate by source. We are designed to operate in a space where we embody. So embodiment precedes manifestation. Without the embodiment, there is no manifestation. So without the embodiment, there is no manifestation. So what we're talking about is the fact that, God, the universe, and again, those terms, you can decide. Again, I broke all that down in all of the books. That's the whole purpose of the 1,000 for 1,000, so that way you can understand these terms. So I am an electrical magnetic. That simply means I'm a voltage. So I'm emitting, each cell emits a milliwatt of volts or electricity. So I'm sending out a frequency right now. So are you. That frequency is based upon my belief. This gets into the biology of belief. That's Dr. Bruce Lipton's book that talks about understanding the biology of the divine power that lies dormant inside of most of us because we don't activate this power. Now, again, we're not really taught how to activate the power. We just told to walk in and we're told to do this and do that. But, excuse me, we don't have the theology of prosperity, many of us. So the whole point, the whole purpose of the 1,000 for 1,000 is to go through all of these frequencies, waves, verbs, and vibrations. These frequencies, these waves, these verbs, and these vibrations establishes your wattage. So remember, that's the power that you send out. We don't really understand that life and death is in the power of the tongue. We don't really understand the power of words. Because if we really, really understood the power of words, we know a word is an expressed thought. So if we really understood that every time you express a thought, every time you speak a word, you are establishing a world. Every time you express a thought, every time you speak a word, you are establishing a world. You bring about what you think about. Abracadabra, I create what I speak. So do you. So when you speak, you are molding subatomic particles. These are quarks. These are muons. These are quinons. So these are qubits. You influence that. So you collapse waves every time you think. So the whole point is, number one, you must have one specific thought that you want to manifest. Number two, you must take that thought and immerse it through what we call emotion. So this is emotional. You must delve deep down into it and you must become emotionally engaged. emotionally immersed. And then you must remove all contradictory emotion, all contradictory thought, anything that goes against that one original thought, which is what you are admitting. That is the I am statement. So I am is the first asset that you have. I have it. You have it. We all have it. So when we say I am, what we're saying is we're saying that I am a specific voltage. So identity is the primary economic engine that drives the economy, your own personal economy or your own personal ecosystem. So we all have our own ecosystems. We all have our own way of being, our own way of becoming. So your job is to over and understand, how do I establish that being and that becoming? That's the embodiment. That's the electrical magnetic frequency that you and I are. So the ability for you to tap into that, that's what the Creators Academy is all about. That's what understanding how this unlimited ability for you to be able to generate, operate, and direct, that's all part of your identity inside of this frequency that we call the Christos or Christ. So in Him we live, we move, and we have our being. So it's not just a scripture, but it is a scripture. But it's more than that. It's an embodiment. So when we're talking about embodiment, we're talking about literally taking on the legacy, taking on the frequency, becoming the electrical magnetic version of God on earth. Now, that's another word for consciousness. That's another word for awareness. All of this is broken down inside of the book EMBODY. We talked yesterday. Again, this is just one of the 1,000 for 1,000. Many of us, unfortunately, still struggle in the area of an electrical magnetic frequency identity. What does that mean? That simply means that many of us are still, our frequency range has been hijacked. So we are underneath what I call hypnotic circles. This puts you inside of a loop. I talk about Sabrina Wallace a lot because that's the individual that really assisted me with understanding electronic demonic possession. And let me just jump into that just a little bit as we talk about understanding this. This is extremely important. This is another topic, another book, just one of the books that's inside of the 1,000 for 1,000. So this electronic demonic possession, again, this is something that we all have to process and understand. What that simply means, as a part of the 1,000 for 1,000, again, and this is also available. Decided to do the 4 payments of $250, so that way you can break it down instead of just paying the 1,000. If that becomes more palatable or easier for you, that's something that we want to do. So let's read through just a couple of the pages as we go through what's preventing you from operating and vibrating inside of the electrical magnetic frequency. What's preventing you from embodying the Christos? What's preventing you from being a representative of God on earth? Well, that's broken down inside of this book. And inside the book, we break this down because there is a invisible war that you and I are engaged in. So this invisible war is what we're talking about. We're talking about understanding that, okay, how do we address, how do we win this war?
A battlefield where the enemy does not want your land, your money, or your labor. The enemy wants something far more valuable. Your attention, your perception, your imagination, your identity, your mind. This book exposes the hidden architecture of that war. A war fought through ELFs, extremely low frequency.
ELFs and then EMFs.
Electromagnetic fields. SSSS, silent sound spread spectrum. Psychotronic mnemonics. Hypnotic circles. Algorithmic entrainment. Digital flicker rate hypnosis. Chemical desensitization. Behavioral engineering through media. This is not metaphor. This is not conspiracy. This is psychological physics, the science of how consciousness is shaped, bent, and programmed. And the most vulnerable targets? Children, the poor, the stressed, the distracted, the melanated, the spiritually gifted. Because sensitivity is a double-edged sword, It can elevate you into higher realms of intuition, or it can make you more susceptible to manipulation.
So this book, again, was written to break that spell, to deal with that lack of connectivity or embodiment. So we are the electromagnetic body, but we've been disconnected. And the way that they go through this disconnection is using the very electronics that we're using, that I'm using right now. Because the possession, again, isn't like it was way back in the day. It's electronic now. So the enemy has changed his game. So you got to do the same thing. You got to change your game. You got to amp up your game. Let's continue going through some of this information that's, again, extremely important that you understand that, okay, each and every one of us, we have this ability to operate and to vibrate according to the way God designed us to.
To expose the mechanisms behind the modern possession, not possession by ancient demons, but possession by digital entities, algorithmic spirits, and frequency-based intrusions that bypass logic and hijack the subconscious. You are not powerless. You are not helpless. You are not doomed. But you must understand the battlefield. Because the war is not coming. The war is already here. Chapter 1, Electronic Demonic Possession, the New Age of Influence.
There we go.
Electronic demonic possession is not a metaphor for evil technology. It is a literal description of how modern devices mimic the ancient mechanics of spiritual intrusion. In ancient texts, a demon was defined as a disembodied intelligence, seeking a host, entering through a weakened gate, influencing thoughts, emotions, and behavior. Now compare that to a digital algorithm, seeking a user, entering through a weakened attention span, influencing thoughts, emotions, and behavior. The mechanics are identical. The medium has changed. The method has evolved. But the pattern is the same. Screens are the new sigils. Notifications are the new whispers. Algorithms are the new spirits. Addiction is the new possession. And the human mind, especially the untrained mind, is the perfect host. You see, there was a time when possession meant ritual. A time when the body convulsed, the voice changed, and the eyes rolled back. But today, possession is silent. It is digital. It is
everything's changed, man.
It is invisible.
So we'll stop there.
Electronic.
Because this is a part of the book, Electronic Demonic Possession. One of the books that's included inside of the 1000. It's important, brothers and sisters, that, moving forward, the whole point of the Creators Academy is to assist you with identifying the creative aspects of your essence that we talked about yesterday. So when we talked about over and understand that many of us are suffering from abuse of misalignment, we talked about how to create this spirit or ruling disposition. This spirit or ruling disposition allows you now to channel, for lack of a better term, to embody, to walk with or become one with Source, God, the big G. That's the whole purpose. And so when your mind entertains multiple different aims, multiple different objectives, that's when that's when you become watered down. You become neutralized. So all of these options actually makes you less effective because your vision gets clouded. And so it is this singleness of mind that allows you, again, to be able to become effective for establishing your own weightedness. When I say weightedness, that means density. When I mean density, that means clarity. When I mean clarity, that means certainty. When I mean certainty, that means confidence. So when you speak as one having authority, and your voice, your vocabulary moves mountains. You literally embody the electrical magnetic frequency of God. Your body becomes a beacon. Your body becomes a light. Your energy, your aura, your chi, everywhere you go, when people see you, when people think about you, they get uplifted. There are some people that you think, hey, what's up, Sister Ambra? What's going on, my sister? There are some people that when you think about them, it doesn't create positivity. Let's talk about, the current political climate. There's when you think about the Orange Julius, as I like to call it, how does it make you feel? Do you feel animated? Do you feel excited? Let's say if you're a melanated person and you think about, let's say, the KKK. Now, that's an organization supposed to be back in the day. So when that thought comes to the brain, do you get happy? Do you get jovial? Do you get excited? So if you're a melanated individual, you know that organization is a non-melanated organization. It simply means that organization doesn't mean you well. It is a non-benevolent organization. So your field, which is your feelings, are affected just by the mention of the organization, just by the mention of a certain individual. But there are some individuals, when you mention their name, you get excited. Let's say your mate. When you think about your mate, when you think about your mom, when you think about your dad, you think about your siblings, your family, your circle of friends, your environment, there are certain things. You think about your home. These are, again, amplifiers. So these are animators. These are the things that animate the body. So when we talk about the animating principle of the body, we're talking about embodiment. We're talking about becoming an electrical magnetic frequency version of God on earth, but you have to match God's frequency. So when you match, that is done through identity. So it is identity matching, but you have to put on. You have to let this mind be in you. The scripture breaks all of this down. The only thing I'm doing is breaking it down into layman's terms using cosmology, theology, and biology. So all of the 1,000 books that's available inside of the 1,000 for 1,000 or the 4 payments of $250, and also the Master Teacher 360 Creators Academy. The goal is to get you to the point. Now, look on my Facebook feed. Look at what I've been posting since January the 1st. Notice the number of images. Notice the number of books. Notice the amount of creativity. Now remember, there's a war coming. It's not here yet. I'm always a couple of years ahead of the curve. The war is there's a new productivity. So the new producers, the new productivity, the new let's use the word millionaires, the new creators, the new successful people are people who are able to do what I'm doing, what I've been doing. And that is, number one, be authentic, be real. Turn on your phone. Talk. No script. Straight off the dome. Why? Because you are expressing your true authentic self. I don't have a product. I am the product. So I'm not selling a thing. I am the thing. So I'm talking about me. So I'm talking about my value. You must embody value, and you must be able to express that value so that people can see the value. If not, you're in trouble, because you will be replaced by artificial intelligence. So there's a war coming. It's not here yet, Sister Amber, but it's coming between artificial intelligence and authentic intelligence. So the people who can authentically create. So the whole point of the Master Teacher 33 Creators Academy is to teach you how to take your authenticity. Sister Amber does hair. So what does that mean? That's how the energy that she's chosen to put her energy into that particular product, service, or information. Now, I do information. She does service. You could be a janitor. You could be a plumber. You could be an architect. You can be, an auto mechanic. There are many different ways by which you are able to take your true, authentic inner chi. That's your entity. That's source. So source is inside of you. He's operating as you. It is manifesting itself at once. But you got to get out of the way. The only way that you got to get out of the way, the only way to play is if you get out of the way. So what does that mean? That simply means that you have an attachment disorder. Not you personally, but people you know. You're attached to a lower level frequency. You're attached to a title. You're attached to a label. And these titles and these labels are limits. So you don't want to limit. You want to express your full, true, authentic self. Now, there's nothing against. Everybody starts somewhere, but the singleness of mind. Remember the 3 steps. Number 1, singleness of mind. Nothing happens. Nothing. Until you accept. The universe doesn't respond to nothing but a made-up mind. So all problems are the result of too many minds. too many options. Everybody has, I have the same issue. So you're so powerful, especially if you're a melanated individual, that you can amplify. And so your job is to limit your amplification by what? Collapsing onto one specific particle. Because remember, the observer determines what is observed. That simply means energy flows where attention goes. So where's your attention? So if your attention is all over the place, your energy is all over the place. And so what happens is you watering yourself down by putting yourself into too many places, talking to too many people, doing too many things. So now, remember, this is the new level of the game. Before, surface level knowledge is all you needed. Before, I could come on here and I could just talk about general stuff. Bam, I was good. You can't do that anymore. Now you got to go deeper. Now, deep learning. You have to become your own LLM. You have to become your own large language model. But your large language model cannot be learned, because then I can copy you. So right now, I can create something, put it on the internet, somebody else copies and do the same thing. But guess what? Can't nobody copy my chi. Nobody can copy me. Why? They wasn't with me when I was raised in that cult. They wasn't with me in my first relationship, in my first marriage, when I made all of these mistakes. They wasn't with me again when I was in the Marines. They wasn't with me when I was working at Supermax prison. They wasn't with me when I was in a cop. They wasn't with me when I started my 23 businesses that failed. So they don't have my experiences. They don't have my education. They don't have my culture. So that you could have my same name. You could be born on the same date as me. But boo-boo, you do not have the same life experiences as me. So you don't see the world the way that I do. And I don't see the world the way that you do. So your gift, your value, remember, you must embody value. Your value is your density. Your density is the thing that makes you heavy. So when your words, when you speak, what's up, Sister Christy Carol? What's going on, Sister Christy? So when you speak as one having authority. That's what Jesus had. Jesus left when he was 30. He came back. Well, he came back when he was 30. But where did he go? Well, there were those missing years of Jesus. He left when he was 30, came back when he was 33, if I remember the story correctly. And they said, isn't this the carpenter's son? So they knew him as the carpenter's son, but he came back and they said, hey, he ain't speaking like that no more. He speak like one has authority. He got experience that gave him authority. So when you got person, I don't argue with people about my personal experience. Now, we can argue and debate about books. We can argue and debate about his name, because none of us here was actually alive when, quote unquote, Jesus or Yahushua walked the planet. So you could debate it. You could argue it. You could say, I wasn't here with the dinosaurs. I read about them. So I wasn't here. I don't have no personal experience about walking the streets of the Tartarian Empire. So when somebody posts pictures of the lost city of Atlantis, was you around during the Atlantean period? Well, we have memories, but we don't have access to them. So my memories are disconnected. So I don't have access to those memories. So even if I was around, it doesn't mean no good, because I don't have access to the memories so that I can get power through confidence, certainty, and clarity. So when you speak, you must speak from a place of confidence, certainty, and clarity. That gives you something called dunamis power, where we get the English word dynamite. So when you speak, your words collapse subatomic particles. If you speak with authority, that's called vocare, or VOX in the ancient text. So abracadabra, life and death is in the power of my tongue. I mold subatomic particles when I speak. So do you. The only difference between me and you, I mean, not you personally, but people, the only difference is I only speak about SMEs, subject matter expert. So I'm a subject matter expert in my little circle. So I don't go outside of my circle. So I don't go and I don't speak about, open heart surgery. I'm not going to give you no advice on being an open heart surgeon. I got no experience. I'm not going to give you no advice on substance abuse. Why? I don't drink. I've never done no drugs. So I don't know nothing about substance abuse. So you would never, ever, if you see me on here giving somebody advice, that's a clone. That's an avatar. That's AI. That is a synthetic. That is an NPC, a non-player. Can't be me, because I don't know nothing. So I never, ever speak or give advice or talk about or write books. I got over 1,000 books. That's the 1,000 for 1,000. Everything in those books is based upon real life personal experience that I've read about and then I've implemented. So I've lost 30 pounds in 30 days over 30 times. So I got a whole book. I got a whole neuro theology that I break down frequent intense training. I break down autophagy. I break down ketones. I break down how to put your body in a state where the body switches from burning glucose and it starts burning stored fat. And the reason that I can teach it, I can talk about, because I've done it over 30 plus times. So I didn't read it in a book. This is real life experience. So I have my book on how to establish a ruling disposition. So when I was a young whippersnapper, my mom died when I was young. I moved. I was forced to go live with my biological father. I used to get beat up every day. And I couldn't understand why. Like, what, I didn't, that's the strangest. They do that. But I sent off an energy because I was in a uncertain environment. My biological father used to lock the door so I couldn't get into the home. And so I was afraid. So I sent out that frequency. So what happens? Dog chase people who are afraid. So those are the archons. That's how the universe works. That's why one of my books, never invest scared energy. Don't hang out with scared people. The Bible says God's not giving us a spirit of fear. There's a reason. Because fear keeps you here. Fear keeps you trapped in a low frequency and density range that makes you vulnerable to attack. So you never operate in a spirit of fear. So a spirit is a ruling disposition. A spirit is a group of thoughts that dominate your brain. So a feeling comes over you. So if God can give us a spirit of fear, who did? I mean, I'm asking for a friend. So God gave you a spirit of love, power, and a sound mind. So you should be operating in love. You should be operating in power, and you should be operating in sophronismas. Sophronismas is that Greek word that gives the English word sound mind, stable, determined, focused, disciplined, orderly, structured, because it's attached to source. So you attach the source through purpose. That's why I do purpose reports. So the most important frequency, the most important electricity, the most important magnetism, and when you become electric, that makes you magnetic. When you become electric, that makes you magnetic. That's where we get the name Melchizedek. So Jesus was not born. He's not after. He wasn't a part of the Levi or the Aaron priesthood. He says that I am from Melchizedek. So Melchizedek, Melchizedek, Dek, Chi, Z, Mel. It's a doctrine, a deck that activates the Mel-Chi, the electricity and the magnetism that controls the melanin. So when you reverse engineer, because everything on this planet is upside down, according to Isaiah 48. They took the truth, they take the truth and they turn it upside down. So the dominant culture always do. That's why they call it backmasking. Remember back in the day, they used to play the music in reverse or backwards, and it would say, certain other things because it's backmasking. So whoever they are, we don't know who they are, Sister Amber, but whoever they are, they took the truth, they turned it upside down. So the average had to keep it on, they got the truth, but they got it backwards. We're the only country that reads from left to right. I mean, when I was stationed in Japan, the steering wheel of the vehicle was on the other side. Why is that? Asking for a friend. So it's very, very important that we understand that this whole system is Luciferian. This whole world, remember the Bible says, Satan, the old dragon, who has deceived the whole world. Not half of the world, the whole world. And he took his demons, he turned them into ministers. Again, pausing for theatrical effect. He turned his demons into ministers. See, I used to be one. Stop playing. Ministers of righteousness. We're going to leave that alone, Sister Amber. We're going to just keep it rolling. So once you understand that there's an abuse of power, for lack of a better term. So what does that mean, though? Well, let's wrap this up with what I call the smoking gun. So the smoking gun is what I call diagnosticas. Diagnosticas is the smoking gun. Because diagnosticas is where we get the word diagnosis. So this is the science of understanding spiritual discernment. So my mentor, the great late Dr. Miles Rowe, also Pastor LaSalle Vaughn here in San Antonio, Texas, they put an emphasis on under, over, and understanding purpose, because where purpose is not known, guess what happens? Well, we already know abuse is inevitable. And so what we're talking about is under, over, and understanding this thing that we call purpose. So when you live in your life and you got no direction, you got no meaning, you got no function, you are in trouble. You see, brothers and sisters, where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. I've been saying that for 30 plus? So your job is to find purpose. That's why I do purpose reports. Nothing, in my humble opinion, is more powerful and more important than purpose. Because again, where purpose is not known, you abuse yourself and then you abuse everyone else. Why come? You don't know what it's for. Like, if you get a wife, you don't know the purpose of the wife, you're going to abuse the wife. It's simple. If you get a knife, you don't know the purpose of the knife, you're going to abuse the knife. You may take the knife and you may think the knife is designed to, hurt somebody, when it's not. So where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. When I talk to people who have problems, I'm talking to somebody who has no purpose. Now, we all go through seasons. Let's not get it twisted. But I'm talking about, you've been in the same season for 30 years. You've been going to that same church, sitting in that same row for 30 years, and your life has not changed. Jesus came that you may have life, and life more abundantly. But you're here for growth, not only for spiritual growth, but for financial growth. So sure, you have ups and downs, but at the end of the day, there should be growth. I should be able to see and say, man, I remember when. Look at my life, look at my kids' life, look at people who over and understand universal spiritual law and how to do what? Become the electrical magnetic body of wealth. I am the source of value. So are you. You cannot go learn and take a class and get value. You was born with it. You have worth and value. Don't let nobody lie to you. But this book is $1.99. It's only $1 when you pick it up with the 1,000 for 1,000, or 4 payments of $250. Now, there's no way I can go through all of the 1,000 books that's included inside of this course and this opportunity. You can go to my website at Master Teacher 33 and you can go through some. I got about a good 500 or 600 books there. But again, this is my entire legacy. Everything I've been doing since I've been on this planet. Over 1,000 books. And each one of these books are actually individual, what I call ecosystems. An ecosystem is a way by which for you to oscillate and vibrate and to think. So the 1,000 books for $1,000, or 4 payments of $250. And again, everything's done electronically. This obviously is not PDF books. PDF is not physical. These are all PDF books. We could definitely talk about physical copies. I used to sell the physical copies back in the day for 25, 30 grand. That definitely, if there's somebody out there that's interested in getting all of these books in a physical hard copy, we can definitely do that. You just have to take care of the cost of the printing and the shipping. But brothers and sisters, today's message is you have to stop trying to manifest stuff. That's the hard way of doing things. You have to stop trying to quantum jump. You have to stop. Now, remember, I taught all that stuff. Those are all techniques. But at the end of the day, this is 2026. This is the year of the one. No more techniques. No more steps. All you got to do is embody. Become the electrical magnetic version of God on earth. When you increase your voltage, when you activate the mitochondrial DNA. Now remember, the mitochondrial DNA is only passed down through your mother, not your father's. It's only passed down through the mater or the mother. Because the mater, the mother controls matter. They, whoever they are, we don't know who they are. They are using data to control matter. Source code uses mother to establish matter. That's why only the mother, the mitochondrial weave, that gene is only found in the melanated female. That's another study for another time. So brothers, sisters, I love you. Sister Amber, thank you so much, Sister Crystal Crowd, for tuning in. Sister Fasha Ra, I don't know how you say that name. Thank you again for tuning in. For everybody that's tuning in who listen live or to the recording. I love you. Ain't nothing you can do about it. I'm going to see at the top. God bless.